This weekend, Brad Pitt's newest movie, F1, hits theaters. Is it one of the best of the year? Let's talk about it. So this weekend, F1 is in theaters along with Megan 2.0, which I'll also be putting a review out for. But just to cut to the chase real quick, what movie is worth your time? Megan's fine, it's funny. But I was definitely more into F1 as it is just a more my type of movie. I had a really good time with it. I'm going to talk, all my favorite parts about it. Non-spoilers, of course, if, you're worried about me spoiling the movie or anything like that, you do not have to be worried. I will not spoil any major plot points or anything like that. So without further ado, let's dive into F1. So right off the bat, I have to let you know, this movie is intense as hell. I don't think I think it has like a 2.5 hour runtime. Almost every 10 minutes, there's some kind of new problem or thing introduced into the story to keep making it like intense or refreshing or just like to keep you on your toes. I mean, they give you time to breathe and take in these new things. It feels like real life. Like how you feel like you can never catch a break. That's how this movie feels in terms of intensity and just what exactly is going on. So as far as Brad Pitt's character, Sonny, we've seen the kind of traditional, I don't care about anything, but secretly I'm the one that cares the most, right? Well, here's the thing. Traditionally, a lot of those characters have been done, even by Brad Pitt. Brad Pitt has played that character before. But the reason I think it works here is because there's not like a specific scene where Brad Pitt just like breaks down and is like, yeah, I'm done being that guy. Like, it's a very progressive arc that he has, and it's like just small little changes that he makes. He kind of just has this way about him where it's like you don't expect him to change, but like you can kind of see that change, like he's capable of doing it. And he does do it, but it also still feels like he's himself without change. It's kind of a weird thing, but it's a really well done arc to where he still feels like the same person. They didn't make like a completely new person. Joshua and Sonny's relationship in this movie is probably one of the biggest things that propels his arc forward. And Joshua has an arc too. So in the beginning, they had this whole dynamic where he's like, oh, you're the new guy on the team. You're like an old man, even though he's like, what, 50, maybe not even 60, which, maybe you consider old. Sonny, is kind of cracking jokes about, you're too cocky. You don't understand what you're saying. Pretty much just calling him the Lightning McQueen of F1 racers, right? You're too cocky. You care too much about what the media says. It's all just noise, right? And these are things that are established early on in the movie. By the end of the movie, Joshua is literally like taking those like ideas that, Sonny has instilled into him, even though he didn't necessarily instill them into him. Like, he had said them early on, and then, stuff happens throughout the movie when he realizes, hey, maybe Sonny was right. Maybe Sonny wasn't trying to sabotage me. And he gives those ideologies a chance, and it ends up working out really well for him. Kate, the car technician in this movie, was probably one of my favorites just because she offers a lot of how I was talking about how this movie is very intense. It's very, fast going. She offers the little moments where you can breathe and just let everything soak in and just like collect yourself before the next catastrophe or big intense scene happens, right? Because she has this relationship with Sonny where she's like, she likes him, but she doesn't think like, because they both work together. She actually plays a pretty pivotal role in the movie, which is a big thing that I do want to talk about just quickly. They don't just focus on the racers here, which I love. They focus on the racers, they focus on the promotion team, they focus on the pit crew, and then obviously Kate. And like her whole thing is like designing all the cars, and she ends up designing this car that's like made more for combat than it, you know what I mean? And this gives them the upper edge. That whole plot line really works for me, and especially because like, she comes from a place where people told her, don't go to F1, you're not gonna do well, you're the first female car technician. And she has all of that going against her, and she's on the losing team at the moment when we first meet her. And I think that's what makes, you know, the fact that they are all collectively a team working together so great. So if you haven't heard already, Hans Zimmer did the score for this, so obviously you know it has to be good, right? There are a lot of moments where like I feel like I want to go back and watch and appreciate more of the score or the soundtrack, because they did mix different like regular songs into the score of this movie, and I think it works extremely well, because I don't, as much as I love, you know, the Hans Zimmer, all the different instruments, I feel like there were also moments where this was like a, because it's such a big shot kind of movie with all these brands and everything, some of the actual songs that already exist that they use in the movie, I feel are tailored to the brand of what this movie's trying to be. Totally works for me. But the score is, again, amazing. And when I was, you know, seeing some of the credits come down, I was so happy to see Hans Zimmer there. Just a quick note, if you, I don't know if you have seen the trailers or anything, but the visuals are stunning. They have a lot of different camera angles, just of like, it's also like Brad Pitt like racing the car the entire time, which I know we wouldn't expect anything else, but it's just cool to see all of those different camera angles, and like there's just a lot of weird fun shots, so I don't think you'll get bored in terms of how they filmed the movie. There's also a lot more of the like getting back up from, you know, like they'll get hit with something and they'll get back up. I knew that was going to be in this movie. It's in a lot of these, you know, I don't want to say a biopic because it's not necessarily a biopic, but you get what I'm saying. They're not really in these movies that much. It's like slammed with this movie. They definitely usually have it in these type of like racing or sports movies, right? This movie gets slammed with that concept. There are like 3 or 4, maybe even 5 moments in the whole movie where I was like, oh man, this is as bad as it's gonna get. And then it got worse. The final thing I'll say is just that the final race of this movie definitely, you know, feels its weight. It has a massive payoff. Like I said, there have been all these different things that the team has been struggling with. They have everything against them. And what I love so much about this movie is that it's not just like, you know, like in the end, like, oh, they just come back and win it just because. These two characters are working on the very thing that they struggled with from the very beginning, which was helping each other out, letting each other win. And it's the very idea of helping the other person that makes them win, because they're able to, you know, come out at the right time, slow cars down, get into the right placements, and eventually end up winning the race. It's a great way to end the movie on such a like payoff for what you've been building towards the entire movie. So yeah guys, that is my review for F1. Let me know what you guys thought about the movie, if you plan on going to see it this weekend, and are you an F1 fan in general? You know, I won't, you know, I haven't watched much F1 racing in general, but I do like racing movies a lot. I was a big fan of Gran Turismo when it came out, and I had a really good time with this. I think I gave it about 4.5 out of 5 on Letterboxd, so definitely one of the best of the year for me. And just one of the better summer movies. I always like these kinds of movies, and of course it's Brad Pitt, so you can't really go wrong there. But let me know what you guys thought about the movie, and I will see you guys in the next review. Peace, Colonels.